I always prided myself on being an understanding and supportive husband, especially when it came to my wife Lara's career. Lara was an international chef, known for her daring fusion of flavors and her charismatic presence on various cooking shows. Our kitchen at home was her sanctuary, a place where she experimented with recipes from around the globe. It was a regular Tuesday when I first noticed the noodles. They lay sprawled on our kitchen counter, unlike anything Lara had ever made for us. These were thick, tangled, and had a vibrant, spicy aroma that filled the entire room. "Learned a new dish today," Lara chirped, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Got the recipe from a new friend at the Culinary Expo. You must try it, love." Her enthusiasm was contagious, but a nagging sense of doubt crept into my mind. Lara had never mentioned this friend before. I shrugged off the uneasy feeling, attributing it to needless jealousy. I kissed her cheek and smiled. "Can't wait to taste it," I lied, as my gut twisted with suspicion. The next day, driven by a sudden impulse, I left work early. My heart pounded with a mix of dread and urgency as I approached our front door, my mind racing with possibilities. I turned the key quietly and stepped inside, greeted by an unusual silence that seemed to press against my ears. Then, I heard it, a faint moan, muffled but unmistakable. It came from the kitchen. My sanctuary. Our sanctuary. My pace quickened, and I felt the cold grip of betrayal tightening around my heart. Pushing the kitchen door open, the scene before me was more shocking than I had imagined. Lara was there, her clothes replaced by a mere dusting of flour, her skin glistening under the warm glow of the overhead lights. Beside her, a man, naked except for a chef's hat, laughed, his hands bold and familiar on her. The room was steamy, the air filled with the scent of spices and deceit. "James!" Lara gasped, her face flushing a deeper red than the chili oil she loved. I stood frozen, the weight of my shattered trust anchoring me to the spot. "So, this is the new friend?" I managed, my voice a mix of hurt and anger. The man adjusted his hat, an awkward attempt to cover his shame. I should go," he stammered, scurrying past me, his embarrassment trailing behind him. Lara reached out, her flour-covered hand stopping inches from mine. "James, let me explain." "I don't need your explanations, Lara." My voice broke as I pulled away. "I trusted you." Turning on my heel, I left her standing amidst the chaos of her betrayal, the unfinished dish a bitter reminder of our broken vows. As the door slammed behind me, the plan for revenge began to crystallize in my mind. Lara had broken the sacred trust of our marriage, and for that, she would have to pay. I would ensure that her deceit was not left unanswered. My next steps were clear: legal advice, separation, and ultimately, divorce. Our paths, once so intertwined, would now diverge forever. This was just the beginning. The main plot of betrayal and retribution was set in motion, and the intrigue was far from over. The morning after the revelation was a blur of grey skies and my relentless pacing across the living room. I had hardly slept, my mind replaying Lara's betrayal over and over like a haunting refrain. Today, I wasn't just going to sit back, I was going to start taking action. First on my list was contacting a lawyer. I found a reputable one online, known for handling high-profile divorce cases. The phone felt heavy as I dialed the number. "Good morning, Johnson and Associates. How may I assist you?" The receptionist's chirpy voice broke through the line. "I need to speak with someone about a divorce." "It's urgent," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Certainly, Mr. James Harrow. My wife has been unfaithful, and I want to make sure I'm taking the correct steps." There was a pause, and then, "One moment, Mr. Harrow. I'll connect you with Mr. Johnson." The wait was brief. "Mr. Harrow, I'm Edward Johnson. I understand this is a difficult time. How can I assist you today?" I explained everything: Lara's international career, her betrayal, the need for discretion given her public persona. Edward was methodical, taking notes, asking questions that made me relive the painful details. "Given the circumstances, we'll need solid proof of infidelity. It'll strengthen your case, especially considering your wife's status. Do you have any evidence, photos, videos, messages? I didn't think to capture anything in the moment. I was too shocked. That's understandable, but we'll need something. It might be prudent to gather some evidence before confronting her again. Also, have you considered financial arrangements? Any joint accounts or investments? The mention of finances struck a new chord of worry. Yes, we have joint accounts and properties. She's also likely hiding earnings from her shows and endorsements. We'll need full disclosure of all assets. I'll prepare the paperwork. It's crucial you start separating your finances immediately. The call ended with a plan in place, but the need for evidence nagged at me. I decided to take a different approach, going to her restaurant under the guise of a surprise visit. The restaurant was bustling as I walked in. Lara was at the pass, her back to me, commanding her team with the same passion she used at home. Seeing her like this, so in her element, stirred a pang of what used to be admiration. I pushed it aside, those feelings had no place here now. I approached quietly, reaching the pass just as she plated a dish. Lara. She startled, nearly dropping the plate. Her surprise quickly turned to wariness. James. What are you doing here? I came to talk. We're not done, Lara. Not by a long shot. Her eyes darted around, mindful of her team's prying eyes and ears. Not here, James. Please. Ignoring her plea, I leaned closer. You brought this into our lives, into your workplace. Why shouldn't we finish it here? Because you're better than this, she hissed, a mix of anger and desperation in her tone. Let's go to my office. In her office, the air was thick with tension. Lara sat across from me, her hands clasped tightly. So, talk. I met with a lawyer. We're moving forward with the divorce. I want full disclosure of your finances. All of it, Lara. Her face paled. You don't need to do this. We can talk it out. Maybe go to therapy. It's too late for therapy. I need answers, Lara. Starting with him. Who is he? She looked down, her voice barely a whisper. His name is Marco. He's a chef from Italy. We met at a conference, Anne. I don't need his biography, Lara. I want to know why. Why him? Why betray our marriage? Lara's eyes met mine, filled with tears. I don't know, James. It just happened. It wasn't planned. But you chose to lie. You chose him over us. Yes, and I regret it every second. But, James, can't we? No, Lara. We can't. I'm gathering evidence, and I will use every legal avenue to ensure I come out of this without the stain of your betrayal dragging me down. As I stood to leave, the gravity of our shattered life hung between us, heavy and unyielding. This is just the beginning, Lara. Be ready. Walking out of the restaurant, the weight of my next steps pressed down on me. Gathering evidence was just the start. The main plot of my revenge was unfolding, and the intrigue of how far Lara would go to fix this, or resist it, was yet to be fully revealed. My drive back from Lara's restaurant was a turmoil of emotions, but the need for concrete evidence hardened my resolve. If I was to dismantle the life we had built together piece by piece, I needed irrefutable proof of her infidelity. The evening was settling in, the city lights flickering to life as I formulated my plan. I started by reaching out to an old friend, Marcus, who now ran a private investigation firm. Marcus, I need a favor, I said as soon as he picked up the call. James? It's been ages, man. What's up? His voice was warm, a reminder of simpler times. It's not a good time. I need your professional services. It's about my wife. There was a brief pause. Say no more, James. What do you need? Surveillance. Need? So, anything that can prove she's seeing someone else. I can handle that. Give me the details, and I'll get my best guy on it. I provided him with Lara's schedule, the name of her friend, Marco, and other necessary details. Thanks, Marcus. I need this as discreetly and quickly as possible. You got it, James. I'll keep you posted. With the PI set up, I turned my attention to the financial aspect. I needed to understand the depth of the assets Lara might be hiding. The next morning, I met with a forensic accountant, detailing my situation and my suspicions about concealed income. The accountant, a meticulous woman named Elaine, nodded understandingly. Divorce cases like yours are unfortunately common. I'll need all your financial statements, anything joint and anything you suspect she might have her name on. I'll get you everything by tomorrow, I promised, feeling a slight relief at being proactive. Later that day, Marcus called. We've got something. Marco and your wife were at a boutique hotel this afternoon. We got clear shots. I'm sending them over now. The photos arrived on my phone, each one a stab in the heart. Lara and Marco, laughing, touching, their intimacy undeniable. It was the proof I needed, but it fueled my anger just as much as it bolstered my case. Armed with the photos, I confronted Lara again the next evening. This time at our home, where every room echoed memories of a life I once cherished. Lara stood in the living room, a shadow of tension under the soft lighting. James, why are you doing this here? Where else, Lara? Where better to end what started in such a place of trust? I threw the photos onto the coffee table in front of her. Her gaze flickered down, and she flinched. James, please. Can we not? No, we can't not. Look at them, Lara. This is you, isn't it? With him. My voice rose, the sound bitter. She picked up the photos, her hands trembling. Yes, it's me. James, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, Lara. You did. I was yelling now, the pain morphing into rage. What did you think? That you'd get away with it? I don't know. I don't know what I thought. I'm sorry, truly. Sorry doesn't cut it anymore. I steadied my voice, my decision clear. I want you out, Lara. I want a divorce, and I want it clean and quick. James, No more lies, no more chances. I'm done. She nodded slowly, tears streaming down her face. I'll move out tomorrow. I'll have my lawyer contact yours. As she walked past me, up the stairs to what was once our bedroom, the finality of our parting struck me. But this was just another chapter in the saga. The full scope of her betrayal and the retribution I sought were still unfolding, and I knew the road ahead would reveal even more. The house felt cavernously empty without Lara, her presence now just a ghost in the echoing halls. As I walked through the rooms, every picture, every piece of furniture screamed of the betrayal that had festered beneath my love-blind gaze. But this was no time for sentimentality, this was the time for final retribution. The divorce proceedings were brutal and swift, thanks to the damning evidence Marcus had provided. Lara's public persona took a hit, her image tarnished by the scandal. It seemed that my initial revenge was already unfolding with each court session, but I had a more personal closure in mind. I learned from Marcus that Marco, the so-called friend and lover, was planning to open his own restaurant, funded curiously enough by an anonymous investor. This bit of news brought a cruel smile to my face. I had used a portion of the settlement money to secretly fund Marco's venture, but not for his success, for his ultimate downfall. Over the next few weeks, I orchestrated a series of incidents designed to sabotage Marco's restaurant before it even opened. Health and safety complaints were anonymously filed, leading to several inspections. Suppliers were mysteriously outbid by other companies, delaying their deliveries and causing chaos in his opening timeline. Finally, the day of the grand opening arrived, a day that would mark the end of Marco's dreams. I had planned the last act of this play meticulously. Just as the ribbon was cut and the first guests started to arrive, a massive banner unfurled from the building across the street. It read, "The Chef of Deceit, Cooking up lies. The crowd murmured and pointed as phones came out, snapping pictures. Marco's face turned white as he read the banner, his eyes scanning the crowd and landing on me. I raised my glass in a mock toast, my message clear. "Why are you doing this?" Marco confronted me later, away from the chaos of his ruined opening. "You destroyed my marriage. Did you think I'd just walk away?" I said, my voice cold and steady. "It was a mistake. Lara and it wasn't meant to hurt anyone. Mistakes like yours have consequences, Marco. You played with fire. Now watch your dreams burn." The fallout was spectacular. Marco's reputation was shredded within hours, the viral images and my strategically planted rumors making sure he wouldn't recover. His financial backers pulled out, leaving him with nothing but a failed restaurant and a name synonymous with betrayal. As for Lara, she attempted to reach out several times, emails filled with apologies and pleas for forgiveness. I read each one, a bitter satisfaction filling me as I deleted them. She had chosen her path, and now she had to walk it alone. Months later, the divorce was finalized. The settlement was in my favor, thanks largely to the evidence and the savvy legal maneuvers of my attorney. Lara moved out of the city, her career a shadow of what it had once been. As for me, I remained in the house, the memories slowly fading into the background as I began to rebuild my life. One evening, as I sat in the quiet of the living room, a knock came at the door. I opened it to find a courier with a package, no return address. Inside was a single chef's knife, the handle ornately designed, a note attached to it. "Your last meal was too bitter. Taste this, the flavor of regret. Lara." I turned the knife in my hand, its blade catching the light. Lara had always been the better chef, but I had become the better strategist. She thought this gesture a poetic end to our story, but to me, it was just another reminder. Betrayal, like a fine dish, was best served cold, and I had served it in a way that would never be forgotten. The knife would find its place in my kitchen, a token of victory and a reminder that in the game of deceit and revenge, I was unmatched.